What's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. I want to talk about Nia Long. Earlier, I did a video on Erykah Badu and her comments about her perspective about her having, multiple baby daddies, not wanting to be married, and not really about how that has affected her children's lives, but really how she stated that she's got to still live she had to live her best life. And I touched on it because it's really not about past decisions, right? Because as kids, when we're younger, we make, I'll say, not so smart choices, right? Not saying having kids is not smart. It's just maybe the timing of having the children. I always say myself that if I could go back again, I think I might have had my kids after I was 30. Wait till I was 30 years old, because in the beginning I said I wanted to have them all before I was 30. Which was cool. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's cool. But I said, what if I would have waited till I was 30? I could have built a better life for them, for when they came into the world. They would have had, more things. But as kids, you really don't, you really don't realize you're poor and broke until, you get older. But as kids, you're just innocent, you don't know better. So, I don't know. Like I said, I might have would have waited till I was like I say 30. And that way, and then that would have made it to where my kids probably been back to back. Like the two I have now, they're like 7, 8 years apart. But if I would wait till I was 30, I might have would have had them like a year apart. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Might have had more than 2. Just depending. But anyway, like I said, Nia Long talks about it's an interview she did this. I guess this publication called The Cut. And it's a good article. It's a nice long article, man. I'm gonna put it in the description box. Hopefully I remember. If I don't remember, hit me up. Say, Marty, you need to put the link in below, like you said. Your mind is going bad, and I was like, okay, and I'll put it in. But she talks about her life. The difficulties with the breakup. She talks about her growing up, which when she said that she had a boyfriend in high school when the boyfriend was 30, and her mom was like cool with it, you'd have thought she didn't have no daddy. But in this interview, she talks about her dad in a loving way. So I would love to know more details about her life. Anyway, that's for another day. Right now, I want to read just a little excerpt from this and give you my take on it. Scroll down and it says, Cut asked her, people never expected Nia Long to be the center of public drama. How did you go from having peace to what you dealt with in the past few months? No. Understand, Nia Long, I can understand why people are still shooting their shot at. She's 52 years old, but she still look doggone good. Okay, she said, my only focus right now is my youngest son because he's having a really tough time. I'm sure I have some things that I'm suppressing, but I have to do that to take care of him first. That's the given. It's natural. I'm sure I have to circle back with myself several times to reconcile things, but the one thing I try not to do is harbor anger. So basically she said that her son, who's 9 years old, 11 years old, I'm sorry, his name is Kez, and his father, which was Ime Udoka, who was, basketball coach of Boston Celtics, had an affair with at least one person. Maybe they said more than one. I don't know. Maybe get him mixed up with that TJ guy on TV. But Boston, the Celtics put it out there that he got suspended. They put out there why he got suspended, but they didn't want to say who he was hooking up with. But then, sleuths and whoever else, internet sleuths and all that kind of stuff, once they figured it out, they put it out there because, that stuff ain't fair. Regardless of what you want to think, those are 2 adults. She wasn't a little kid. She was a grown woman with her own kids and her own husband. And they didn't want to put her information out there, but they put his information out there. And once it came out, Nia Long, separated from old boy. But the funny thing is, not too long ago, the lady that Mr. Udoka had an affair with, she was spotted seeing like overseas on a trip with her kids, and she still had that wedding ring on. You ain't heard nothing from her. You ain't heard nothing from her husband at all. Just like now, Nia Long ain't really said nothing. He may ain't really said nothing. I think he did a little press conference and said he won't be saying nothing else. But you ain't heard nothing from them. And it looks like she is, her husband is staying with her, at least for the time being. Or maybe she's front, I don't know. But we'll never know. But on the flip side, for some reason, the black couple, their information has been put out on Front Street. And it has caused Nia Long, I think, to back up and just let everything happen. And she'll just, figure it out as life goes along. And I think that's unfair, but the question I have is, out of those two families, which one is right? Like I said, if the other girl's husband, if he is staying with her, which one is right? Is it the family that's staying together? Or is it the family that's breaking up? Because in the long run, well, in the short run, really, you have to do what's best for the children, everyone involved. Now, if it was a relationship where he was like beating on her, cussing her out, disrespecting her in front of the kids, all that kind of stuff, and she just staying there and taking this abuse, yeah, she got to dip. She got to go. You know what I'm saying? But like, I wonder if she left him because this was made public. If it was private, would she have left? But the issue was it's put out in mainstream media. So the son has no choice. And that's the thing about nowadays being in the public light. When something happens and you're a public figure, all your business is out there. And you can't hide from it. And if you got kids, you know what I'm saying, you walking on egg, you slippery slope, walking on eggshells. Because if any little thing happen and it blows up, now the innocent is affected. I've known plenty of people who had affairs, men and women, on their spouses, and they stayed together. They might have a big drag out fight about it, argument about it, disagreement, but in the end, they stay together. I've seen that work, not really affect the kids, and I've seen it where it has affected kids. Because the thing about it, because when you're having problems in a marriage or in a relationship, I think they was just fiancé, they was together for at least 13 years, they say. When you have a problem in a relationship, there's certain ways to handle it when it comes to the children. If there's an affair, it's best for the adults to keep it to themselves unless there's going to be a breakup. And then you have to talk. Then you have to talk to the kids about it. But and you hate to do it, but the kids gonna have to know. Then the kids will be all upset, and that's why you gotta make unselfish choices when it comes to your children. You gotta be careful of the choices you make, because if anything affects the kids in your house, there's no turning back from that. Because one thing you do not want your kid to do is to lose respect for you. And in this case, she's saying her son is having a hard time, and I can imagine, like I said before, my first marriage with both my daughters, ended in divorce, and I hated it more for them than myself. I mean, emotionally, me and her probably wasn't there, together in it anyway. But I mean, but for the kids' sake, I would hope that we would, could have worked out at least until they graduate high school or whatever. But It's just one of them things that I didn't want my kids, personally, selfishly. I didn't want my kids being raised with nobody else. I don't want my kids being raised in somebody else's house and under somebody else's influence. Don't trust nobody else. Because I'm going to do right by my children. And they know it. And they know it. And hey, I talk to my kids, text my kids pretty much down there every day. And one of them is grown and one of them is pretty much grown. Might well say they grown. So, like I said, I mean, stay in the kid's life. Now, you got some people who break up and the dad or the mother is not there, does not talk to the kids. There are problems with the both of the adults, and the kids suffer because the adults are getting into it. So they were like, well, I'm gonna keep you away from the kids because I can't trust you, but you ain't did nothing against the kids. And I'll tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? My kid's mom tried that bullcorn, tried to, because, you know what I'm saying, for no reason at all on my part. Because like I said, I've been there for my kids, with my kids from day one. But it seemed like once, I mean, as we moved on, because we both moved on, but it seemed like once I moved on, there was a problem. You know what I'm saying? But all they got worked out in court. You know what I'm saying? The kids understood what the real was. Ain't nobody fall for that crap. And I've still got a great relationship with my children, so it's all right. I mean, like I say, you was kind of, it's kind of like worried that something could happen, but you know that relationship with the youngest will break up. But I say, they'll know the truth. They'll know the real. And as time goes on, they'll start to understand exactly why everything went the way it went, if it goes a certain way. But anyway, so like I said with Mr. Udoka, with bruh, you made a terrible decision. And like I said in my Erykah Badu video, it's not about your past decision, it's about your present decision. And presently, the decision you made, sleeping with that woman with the Boston Celtics, it destroyed your whole family and your career. It's like, was it worth it? Now, her on the other hand, it looks like they're gonna stay together. And that's another thing. It's like, was Neil Long right by leaving him? Could this not have been worked out? Could there not have been, could they not have went to counseling? With the church, mosque, something. Talk to other married couples. Could it not have worked out, at least if for anything, if not for the sake of the son? Because like you said, he's having a hard time. Yes, Udoka made a bad decision, but you got to think about this boy. It's like he wanted his dad in the house. It doesn't mean that he gonna, agree with what his dad, condone with what his father did. But it's just that when it all said and done, man, I've known people who had some abusive parents, whether it's mentally, whether it's emotionally or physically. And no matter what, even as adults, they still wanted that adoration, that love and respect from that parent. Although they could be upset, hate everything that they did, but they still want that relationship with their parents. I know people who ain't seen their parents in years. When they got older, as mad as they was, they still try to communicate with them in some way, shape, or fashion. So that's what I'm saying. You got to understand. You got to look at the present and the future. You can wait. He was 11. You can wait 7 years from now and look back and say, man, and stay with the man 7 years from now. Be like, hey, we worked it out. It was a tough 7 years because of the choice I made a bad choice. But I went in my son's life every day, his mother in his life every day. And we worked it out. We did what was best for our kid, for our son. To me, that's number one. And that's what you got to see. Like I said, you got to be careful with the choices you make. And then even when you make decisions, you got to learn from. You don't keep making the same choices like I said, Erykah Badu with, more than one baby dad. It's like, look, you get in a relationship, it doesn't mean you have to have, think about this. Couldn't you just have relations without having a baby? You see what I'm saying? What does the baby prove? What does the child prove? What does having a kid prove? What does that do? It's not gonna keep the man. That's one thing women should say. Hey, a baby don't keep no man. You should tell your daughters that from the time they're like 5 years old, and teach them that. You got to teach them how evil men is. Just say, hey, a child ain't gonna never keep no man, so don't have no baby by no man unless y'all married. Simple as that. You just beat that in her head and instill that into her head until once you get older, she'll understand. You know what I'm saying? It'll come. When they're young, they ain't gonna understand, but when they're older, the older they get, the more they understand what you're saying, the wisdom you bring. So again, like I said, you can have a relationship with somebody, and I mean, hey, you gotta have this premarital bliss. Then I mean, it is what it is, but you ain't gotta bring babies into it, right? I can have a great relationship without the babies, like I said, and that's once you bring the babies into it, man, that's when things change. And like I said, you gotta be a little smart with your decision. But anyway, tell me what you think about the story. Tell me what you think about my take. You know, leave your comments below. Tell me if you agree with me, if you don't agree with me. Think I'm off my rocker, like I'm going to the wrong way. I know some people might be offended by these videos, but hey, I mean, it's life, man. And we gotta teach our kids to do better than us. You know what I'm saying? We're quick to say, hey, I'm not gonna whoop my kids. Ain't gonna be like my mom and daddy. I'm gonna give my kids everything I didn't have. But you giving them everything but lessons, life lessons that's really gonna benefit them. You gonna buy them all the tennis shoes and Gucci belts that you want, and fly haircuts and whatever else that they want, just to try to prove that you're a better parent than your parent. But are you teaching them how to make smart decisions so they won't be in the same boat that your parents or that you in? That's what you need. Forget the other material stuff. But anyway, with that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.